Hollywood panics as brutal layoffs permanently shrink the entire industry. Coming from the Los Angeles Times, what's behind Hollywood's latest wave of layoffs? The business is in reset mode. Yes, the streaming services have stopped buying so many TV shows and movies. And production is down overall. What's new is, even Hollywood executives are saying it's never coming back. Also from the Los Angeles Times, Hollywood is slowly getting back to work, but the days of peak TV aren't coming back. And peak TV was when they were buying whatever they could get their hands on for the streaming services, also to compete with the streaming services. Not anymore. And also from the Hollywood Reporter, California vs. the World, the race to nab film and TV productions. Locations from Atlanta to Tokyo are steadily beefing up their tax relief programs in bids to attract Hollywood money. This means if you're producing a TV show or a film, you've got a limited budget to work with. If you do it outside of Los Angeles, you can almost always do it for less money, sometimes for as much as half the money. So if you're a camera guy and you live in Los Angeles, you are much less likely to get work because a lot of the work is moving outside of California. As Hollywood gets back to work, the size of the industry will never be the same. And this is before the major impact of artificial intelligence. Ever since the actors' strike ended last year, Hollywood's workforce has been asking one question: when will the entertainment industry's production economy start its long-awaited comeback? A full 9 months after the debilitating hot labor summer and fall concluded, a picture is starting to emerge of an industry in a state of modest recovery. New data indicates, after a long period of significantly reduced activity, some companies are commissioning more shows again, but the comeback remains incredibly slow. Many entertainment executives and workers at various levels have become resigned to the idea that the film and TV business has permanently become smaller, and the heights of deal-making in 2021 and 2022, the so-called peak TV era, will never return. Quote, "We've been in a stage of reset," according to Alice Thorpe of London-based Ampere Analysis, a market research firm focused on media and entertainment. Recovery for the streaming sector has been led by Netflix and Amazon, which are responsible for a large share of the programming launched since the end of the writers' and actors' strikes. In the first half of 2024, Netflix commissioned 149 programs in North America, the most since the first half of 2022, according to Ampere. Traditional broadcast TV, cable, and streaming commissions in the US and Canada by major entertainment companies increased 39% to 1,013 programs in the first half of 2024 compared to the second half of 2023. The data, which factors in green lights from Warner Brothers, Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Apple, Paramount, and Comcast, did not include theatrical movies. But that number was still down 9.9% compared with the first half of 2023. Even more striking is the decline from the first half of 2022, when those companies greenlighted 1,500 programs in the US and Canada. Back then, the streaming TV universe seemed limitless. Hollywood studios pumped out new shows, streamers paid big money for top talent, and promotional discounts for subscribers were plentiful. That golden era's demise began in 2022 when the streaming leader Netflix reported subscriber losses and continued as studios pared back expenses. They canceled shows and movies, raised subscription fees, and laid off workers. While Netflix has been declared the winner of the streaming wars by Wall Street and remains one of the few profitable companies in that space, it's unclear when the cuts will end at Warner Brothers and soon to be sold Paramount, which is in the process of cutting 2,000 jobs, and they just shut down their entire TV division. On a Tuesday, they announced, hey, we're closing down Paramount TV. By Friday, we needed to be completely shut down. That's an unheard of speed for shutting something down at a company. Even in a bankruptcy, they wait a few months. Hollywood insiders had been hopeful that business would bounce back after last year's strikes, but many workers are still struggling to find jobs. Now, survive until 2025 is the mantra for many. Others have moved out of town or switched careers. The worry that even more strikes were looming held back studio activity, according to some executives. As the unions representing crew members negotiated their contracts with studios earlier this year, Several shows set up production in London rather than risk interruption due to a work stoppage. According to Robert Halmy Jr., chief executive of Great Point Studio, whose company has sound stages in New York, Atlanta, and the United Kingdom, so he'd actually know. They really ought to cool it with the strikes because it's absolutely destroying their industry. They're getting hit with the streaming wars falling apart. All of the bad karma from all of the woke TV shows and films, the stuff they made that cost a lot of money that people don't want to actually see. And now they have all of these other countries and locations who are fighting to get the business for production work. And then beyond that, they have an asteroid coming at them called artificial intelligence. When that hits, no one knows what that's going to do to the industry. Now that the Hollywood Teamsters and the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees have reached deals with the studios, Halmy believes a turnaround is ahead. Quote, "We finally for the first time have no U.S. strikes on the horizon," Halmy said. Much of the renewed production activity is happening outside the United States. Netflix and Amazon are greenlighting programs in North America. However, roughly 60% of their commissions in the first half of this year were on other continents, as they sought to expand their audiences by creating local language content in hubs like India, Spain, and Germany. The film business for years has had to contend with the flight of U.S. productions to locations that are cheaper and offer generous government incentives. Making a show abroad for the small screen also can be significantly cheaper than producing it in the U.S. It can cost $8 million to $10 million an episode for a drama series shot in the US, whereas the same show in Europe, with tax credits, and those tax credits are pretty much just as good as cash, can be made for as low as $4 million per episode, according to estimates from industry experts. Streamers are looking for safe bets, programs with big-name talent and existing intellectual property, such as popular books. In January, Amazon greenlighted a biblical series called House of David. Netflix commissioned a horror show called Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen from the producers of Stranger Things. Amazon has greenlighted 49 U.S. productions so far this year, roughly the same as in 2023, according to a person familiar with Amazon's business. More than 30% of Amazon original series are shot in the U.S. London-based production company Fremantle and its divisions had several shows in different countries greenlighted by Amazon and Netflix this year. Those include a couple of not yet announced U.S. unscripted programs for Netflix and a second season renewal of its popular German language romantic drama, Maxton Hall: The World Between Us, which launched in May and was Amazon Prime Video's most viewed international original title in its first week. Quote, "There's activity everywhere," said Jennifer Mullen, chief executive of Fremantle. "The great thing about what we do is the world needs great content. Yeah, if you make great content or you deliver a great product or a great service, you won't have problems. But if you try to mix it up with political agendas and political ideology, then you're going to have a problem." And some industry insiders are concerned about the future of U.S. production as entertainment companies look to cut expenses. Last week, Warner Brothers and Paramount wrote down the value of their cable networks by a combined $15 billion, a recognition of the damage done by cord cutting and the shift to streaming. In the case of Warner Brothers, also because they lost the NBA. Analysts worry that streamers will reduce content spending on series and movies as they invest more into live sports programming. And that's a really reasonable worry because live sports programming is something that people do tend to prioritize watching. And it's not very risky. And if they want to keep subscribers, which the streamers certainly do, they're going to do more and more with live sports programming. As more subscription streamers offer ad-supported versions of their services, they're seeking major sporting events as a way to draw audiences and advertisers. So now it's not just about keeping subscribers, now it's also about generating advertising revenue because they have that additional source of revenue. Talent is facing pressure as studios offer less money when negotiating deals with creators, some agents said. During peak TV, streamers were offering massive amounts of money to executive producers to help come up with content to fill their libraries. When you're in business, it's very rare that boom times last. Boom times will come and boom times will go. Lots of success, people willing to pay anything to get whatever it is that you have you're selling, whether it's entertainment or whatever other business you're in. It does happen, but it doesn't last forever for a couple of reasons. Industries change over time, competition comes in, people that are spending the money on buying whatever you're selling don't get the same return on investment they thought they were going to get because eventually the market gets saturated. Things do change. So always be optimistic and always be positive, but when things are going great, just assume over time they won't stay great forever. Quote, "It's the worst market that's ever existed," said Dan Earledge, United Talent Agency partner and co-head of its television literary department. "The correction has been dramatic, profound. The deals are being remade at fractions of deals that have existed for those people in the past. Usually in Hollywood, you get a quote. So whatever you were paid on your last project, it's kind of assumed you're going to get paid that again. But not for an industry that's permanently shrunk. Now, if you want the work, you may not get the same level that you used to get, the level that you actually earned because you've been in the industry, you've done the work, you've proved success, but not in a shrinking industry. Even people behind big hits have had trouble getting traction with new material. Aaron Korsh, whose years-old USA Network legal drama Suits became a surprise sensation on Netflix last year, said it's been a tough market. Last month, a pitch of his got rejected. Quote, "In the past 6 months, it was really bad," Korsh said. "I think it's getting a little better now, and the hope from everyone is that it will get better next year." Korsh said the pilot for his upcoming NBC show Suits LA, a spin-off from the basic cable original, was mainly shot in Vancouver, Canada, and he was planning to shoot the season there. However, at the last minute, the project received a tax credit to shoot in Los Angeles, so filming will begin here later this year. Quote, "It was fantastic news for everyone and for the LA economy," Korsh said, "because it's not just the workers who directly work on the projects that affect the local economy. Those workers are important and they need to make their money. But beyond that, those workers that get money from working on a production spend money in the local economy. So LA is also getting severely damaged by the permanent reduction of the entertainment industry in California." And also from the Los Angeles Times, what's behind Hollywood's latest wave of layoffs? The business is in reset mode. When you're in an industry and it's in reset mode, and it's not just Hollywood, that happens to other industries, that is a dangerous time. You have to kind of get in there and figure out where are you going to fit in the new version of the industry. In the case of Hollywood, it's not really looking very good. One of the biggest concerns is this overseas production. If I'm producing a show and I could do a dramatic show for $4 million instead of $8 million per episode, why am I going to do that in the United States? If there's a lot of push to do it in the United States by the creative people and they are a successful team, you can kind of understand it. But otherwise, as the numbers break out, and the studios continue to struggle with streaming, why are they going to spend all of that extra money? Why are the investors who back some of these productions going to agree to spend twice the money on these shows? And then artificial intelligence could absolutely be a huge impact here. Much lower costs of production, even below the foreign rates of half of the United States production costs. Last year, Hollywood braved the summer of strikes. This year, a cruel mirror image has appeared, a brutal season of layoffs. The entertainment industry is reeling from cuts at Paramount Global. As part of that effort, the struggling media giant closed down Paramount Television Studios, the unit responsible for streaming shows such as Reacher and The Offer. And studios used the writers and actors strikes as cover to reduce their spending after losing billions of dollars trying to catch up with Netflix. All the while, the cable TV business continued to disintegrate, like a slowly melting glacier that suddenly broke into pieces. It all seemed like the logical result of what Walt Disney Company chief executive Bob Iger foresaw in 2015, when he sent the stocks of media companies, including Disney, plunging with comments about the challenges ahead for cable channels such as ESPN. Iger remarked that traditional TV was marching to a distinct precipice and would be pushed off. So if you're working in an industry and executives are saying, oh yeah, the industry that we're in, we're going to be marching to a distinct precipice and we're going to get pushed off of that, that's okay for Bob Iger. He's a multimillionaire. But for people that are focused in that industry where they're going to get pushed off a precipice, that's not so good. Those predictions are coming true in dramatic fashion, especially for Iger's rivals. David Ellison's Skydance Media and his partners at Redbird Capital are poised to take over Paramount in the first half of next year. Meanwhile, speculation abounds over whether activist investors might set their sights on Warner and its chief executive, David Zaslav. The workers in the entertainment industry who've been struggling to find jobs since the hot labor summer, the strikes. There's been little relief so far. Only recently have glimmers of hope started to emerge, and optimism has been blunted by the sense that the business is smaller than it was a few years ago when companies simply couldn't get enough content. Between the strikes, the pandemic, the streaming services collapsing what they're buying, their lack of interest in buying additional content because they know they can buy all the content in the world, it's not actually going to make them profitable. It's not even necessarily going to get them any subscribers. The woke TV shows, the woke movies, all of the competition, it's thrown Hollywood into a complete upheaval. Recently, Disney has had success by focusing Marvel back on movies that people might want to see if you like Marvel, like Deadpool and Wolverine. That worked. They did the same with Pixar, Inside Out 2, right on target if you're someone who's interested in Pixar movies. Returning to produce things that people actually want to see is the only way forward. But even when they do that, it's not going to guarantee jobs. Hollywood is in serious trouble. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.